still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks. Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters. This is Supermac and Gibbo show. Apologies for being late. Sometimes I have to do some work away from this channel. So welcome to Supermac and Gibbo. How are you, lads?
Well, I'm a lot better after Brussels, yeah.
Yeah, certainly, yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Because last week I started with, it was like, you know, we had one good bit of news and one bad bit of news. I started with a cup and then we went into the Bournemouth game. This time round, we've got a bad bit of news and we've got a good bit of news. So it's funny, isn't it? Two games to talk about. Arsenal first, John, the Malcolm McDonald derby. We didn't play well. We didn't deserve to win. I think if we got a draw, we could have counted ourselves lucky. We ended up with Nout and really down to a mistake by somebody who had a really good game, Nick Pope. But yeah, it was a heartbreaker. That was worse than the Liverpool one because I think we all felt we'd sneaked something out of that game, John.
Well, it was cruel because with 6 minutes of ordinary time to go, we were 1-0 up and we end up losing 2-1. And I think without question the better team won. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that we had big hearts and we were hanging in and we actually thought we could get a win and we would take a win whichever way it came. Having said that, it was an absolute display of naivety that made us lose in the end because, you know, not just on the first goal, but when it's 1-1 and you enter the 96th minute, how about just hanging on to what you've got? How about thinking that it's a good point against Arsenal? We'll take that instead of which we're trying to fling the ball out to the winger. It gets cut out, and this happens, that happens, and we lose the game. It was very, very, very naive, and I think we were equally naive against Liverpool. In the way that we threw away 2-2 to lose 3-2. So actually, I don't want to dwell on it too much. I haven't been thrilled to bits about Brussels, but that's my feeling about Arsenal. But I've tucked that away in the back cupboard now.
Yeah, you have. Let's look at the Arsenal game quickly, Mal. I mean, it was... I said after the match, I genuinely felt that's probably the best Arsenal have played at St James's Park for quite a few years now. I felt that there was a change in their mentality. Certainly, they went for us from the start. But yeah, I think Arsenal deserved a bit of praise from that game at the weekend.
Yes, okay. You can give them some praise by all means, but they didn't really have much effort at goal. And so for all the possession that they had, they weren't actually doing much with it. And then we get into the last few minutes and Newcastle are still sending defenders forward into the opposing box. And it's tiring on the legs, sort of doing the 80 yards all the way to the opposing penalty area, and then you've got to do a sprint back. when it's cleared. And I think, oh, come on, Newcastle, you've got to be wiser, cleverer than that. It's sheer naivety. Arsenal were playing really well, as you say, John. So 10 minutes from the end of the game, just say, right, shut it up. Completely shut Arsenal out. Board up the goal. We are not going to give anything away, and we don't do that. We go hunting for more goals, and it's crazy. And we lost points at Liverpool. We've lost points against Arsenal, both home games, and I think, well, come on, when are we going to start learning? And it's a bit unprofessional, to be honest.
It is. It's very naive. That's what I meant by the word naive. It is. It's unprofessional. It's naive.
Yeah.
Where I slightly disagree with Malcolm is I think that they had a hell of a lot of shots on goal, and I thought Pope was terrific.
Well, yes,
Pope made
yes,
save
he was,
after
John.
save after save. And wasn't it then tragic that he became the villain at the end, who threw the ball out and then didn't get his punch on? Because Arsenal are terrific at blocking off the keeper on corners, Malcolm, which is what they did on the winning goal. They're great at that. You're not just watching the delivery by the guy who's taking the corner and the header. There's all these other things going on where they're blocking off people, and Pope was blocked off, and I felt so bad for him because I thought he was a superhero until then. I thought he was the best player until the last 5 minutes. But honestly, as I said at the start of this, I'll shoot you, Steve, for bringing it up because I'm wanting to forget about Arsenal. I'm concentrating on Brussels. How about talking what happened at Brussels?
Well, let's talk about that, John. You're keen to talk about it. Yeah, Newcastle took on Union SG last night in the Champions League. Of course, lost the first game against Barcelona, but the biggest away win in the Champions League in the Champions League history, John.
Yeah, which is off saying something, and that's terrific. And it's true because when we think of, was it 5-1 or whatever it was against Antwerp, when 5-0 or 5-1 when Rob Lee scored his hat-trick ahead of us, that was in the UEFA Cup. It wasn't in the Champions League. So this is our biggest win in the Champions League, and thoroughly deserved. We totally outplayed them. But I said before the game, when I was talking to people, people were saying, oh, they're in terrific form. They're the champions of Belgium. They're top of their league. They're unbeaten, top of the league this season. They won at PSV. And I say, hey, but wait a minute. The Belgian Pro League is miles behind the Premier League. Miles behind the Premier League and behind La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A in Italy. Let's not scare ourselves. This league isn't the quality of our league. We have the better players, and if we have the right attitude and don't feel sorry for ourselves regarding Arsenal and aren't too fragile on confidence, and it was the other way, Eddie had got them to say, come on, let's bond together. We are in this together. Let's show them we're better in this. We are better than them. We are better than their league. The Belgian Pro League can't compete with us. So I thought we'd win, but I didn't think we would win as well as we did, i.e. the scoreline of 4-0. I thought we battered them. We battered them from start to finish. And that was terrific for morale because, boy, did we need it. I mean, I said beforehand, Steve, these two games will make our season or break it. In 2 games in a few days, away to Union and home to Forest. Both are winnable. We win both, and we'll go into a fortnight's break in a happy frame of mind, believing that we've come out the dark tunnel, etc., etc. Lose at Union and get a draw with Forest, and it's doom and gloom, and it really is doom and gloom. But we went about it the right way, and I thought I laugh when we played in the League Cup, guys, and we played Bradford City. Everybody said Bradford City's top of their division. They're flying. They're doing it. They've won against two championship sides away in the League Cup. I said, aye, but that's from League One, and we battered them by 4 goals. And I'm not saying that Union's the same as Bradford City because they're better than Bradford City, but there is a class gap, and we made the class gap show, and I was delighted. And the two things that delight me, Mal, was we scored goals and we kept another clean sheet. And away from home, we do that. We've had 3 no draws in this. I wish we start keeping clean sheets at home now.
Yeah, and also, John, what I saw was that there was a nice balance to the team over there. You know, that it was sort of equal right and left, able to play through the middle as well. And I think that that's probably because Gordon was back out on his left wing, and that just balanced the whole side up. But everybody really played well, and you could see that they were enjoying themselves, which I think is important, because when you're enjoying a football match, you know you're really on form. And Forest, well, it's going to be an interesting one because the Aussie new manager there, he's full of, we're going to make changes. We're going to be doing this, doing that, and something. But it's not working for them at the moment.
I love Big Ange, especially when he's manager of the side we're playing, because he ends up getting his trousers taken down and that big bum of his being smacked. But and that is lovely. I just noticed what Denise brought up on the bottom of the screen there, and I couldn't agree more with her on what she was saying. This is the first time we have, from the start, fielded our blue chip front three, allegedly blue chip, of Elanga, Woltemade, and Gordon. And I thought all 3 were absolutely outstanding. Gordon, he's been put on jump leads. He played again like he played last season. He looked terrific. And by the way, we've found the answer to Isaac taking the penalties, because he slashes at shots in open play, and I never think he's going to score in open play, but he took the penalties beautifully. And I think there's pressure, Malcolm, you would know more than me because you're a centre forward and you took penalties. There's pressure on the second penalty if you've scored the first, because he could have been caught in 2 minds.
Yes,
you put it in the same
very much so. Very much so.
Go the other way, Malcolm? What way does he go? And he took it, and he took them both brilliantly.
Very cool, calm, and collected.
Well, let's go to Elanga first. I thought that was his best game for Newcastle.
Yes.
He hasn't played well.
Yeah, great.
I talked to guys at Manchester United about Elanga when he first came here, and they said, when he was a kid there, they saw this kid with huge talent. They thought, what a good player he's going to be. And then they thought, he's blisteringly quick, but his end product, not in terms of goals, in terms of crosses, was wayward. He never found his man. When he got down there, he never got his head up and picked out a man. He just drilled it across the box. And I saw bits of that in him when he first came to Newcastle 4 or 5 games ago. He got his head up on this occasion and tried to pick out people, and quite a few times did pick out people. I thought that was his best game, which is great before he faces Forest. And Woltemade, I thought that was his best game. I thought his feet were terrific. I thought his feet. And you know what people said, Malin? You're a goal poacher as well as a scorer of spectacular goals. And what I loved about his goal, people tried to say that the shot just struck him and went in the other corner. Tonali's shot. If you look at it, he was clever. He flicked the ball through his legs in the opposite direction to what the shot was going.
Yeah, he deflected it.
What goal, Mal, of people, if a person with good feet?
Yeah, he deflected it, knowing exactly what he was doing. He'd already had a quick look to see exactly where he was in relation to the 2 posts, and he just got a perfect touch on the ball, deflecting it. And you could see the keeper. The keeper was way over to his right, and Woltemade just knocked it into the other corner, and I think Tyne, under his breath, he said, "My shot was going in."
Yes, but the 6'9" keeper might have got to his shot. He was going the right way.
He's a monster, isn't he?
Oh, dear me. I mean, the one thing I said, Malcolm, and he is 6'9". You're not going to beat him with any shot just under the bar. But you start hitting shots round his ankle, and it's a long way to drop down from 6'9".
Yeah, absolutely, John. Yes. I thought, in all fairness, it was a bloody good response to the defeat from
wasn't it, Malcolm? Wasn't it?
They turned it around. They looked really confident, and well done to them. You know, when you think that side, they were champions of Belgium last season, and Newcastle, they took control of the game from the very beginning all the way through to the very end, and never lost it for a second. So well done them.
I think as well, I've talked about the front three guys, but I think as well that Tonali was back to his best. He was back to what we knew. Yeah. I thought he was a little bit off against Arsenal, but he was back to his best, putting out fires and being everywhere. And you know what else I like, guys? I like the two centre-halves. I thought Chow and Botman, look, the future of this club. They're in their early 20s, because Shaw and Burns done terrific for Newcastle. Terrific. But they're over 30, and if they lack one thing, it's pace. These blokes are 25, 24, and have got pace. And actually, I look at them, Malcolm.
Botman is a bit short on pace, John, but his reading of the game is absolutely brilliant. Yes. And that makes him 5 or 6 yards.
His pace is in his mind, Malcolm, isn't it?
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Couldn't express it better myself. And Chow, well, he's impressing me every time he gets out.
He looks a real Rolls Royce type of player, Mal, doesn't he? So far?
He is. Yeah. And it's giving the manager those lovely headaches that managers need.
Because he's got four centre-halves now. He's got 4 he could pick, Malcolm, hasn't he? With Shaw and Byrne, and then these two boys, he's got 4 he could pick.
Yeah. And I like that partnership. I really did. And you could see the frustration of the Belgian forwards. They just weren't able to get a foot on the ball. And did Pope have to make any real saves against?
Not like Arsenal at all. No, I
don't think so.
We dominated it, didn't we? We dominated them.
We certainly did. We dominated it, and I just wish that we would be much more tactical aware for the last 10 minutes of a game. Look at the situation. I go back to Arsenal and what Arsenal did to Newcastle. Liverpool did it a bit earlier in the season, and it wasn't great play by Liverpool or by Arsenal. It really was naivety on the part of Newcastle. So it's them that can put things right.
Yeah. What do you guys see as Woltemade's position moving forward? That's the question Denise is asking, and it ties in with what Barry says as well, because where do you see him fitting into the team long term?
I was going to make this point.
We're going to have Wissa coming back in a couple of weeks' time.
Right. Here's the real question that is the nux of this problem. Woltemade will drop off when Wissa comes in the side. But in dropping off, whose position does he take? You've got the 3 midfielders, and it's got to be one of them, or do we reduce to one winger?
Yeah, that's a decision. But the interesting
That's
thing
it in
I
a
found,
nutshell.
Malcolm, we three can all have our own thoughts on what we'll see with Woltemade when we says fit again. But the thing I found interesting when Eddie, at one of his recent press conferences in the last few days, and they come up so quickly now, I forget which one it was, but was asked about Wisa and Woltemade. I think he was asked about Woltemade, when the Germans were saying we are all idiots. And I think, yes, I love being idiots when you get a bloke that scores 3 in 4 games and
3 in 4
it's a,
games.
we are idiots, aren't we? Long live the idiots. But when I look at it, what I've found, I wouldn't say worrying, but what I found my eyebrows going up, I thought, well, how are you going to ever play Risa with Woltemade? Because you said Woltemade might be a number 10, but we don't play number 10s. We are going to make him into a centre forward. Now, that sort of indicates, unless you let Risa play as an outside left and you've got Gordon there, what are you going to do? Are there going to be one of them on the bench and comes on in 60 minutes and the other goes off? I mean, I thought it was so revealing that he said, maybe Woltemade can play as a number 10, but we don't play with a number 10. I will be working on him on the training ground to make him a number 9. Now, if that's the situation, it's going to be interesting what happens with Wisa and him. It looks as if they might be becoming the Isaac and Callum Wilson when they could find Callum Wilson and take the padding off him and let him loose. But it looks as if it might be, how you switch bonds around, you sometimes bring the guys in. It was interesting because I was hoping that at some stage we would try to get them both starting together. They will get together in a sub situation later in a game. But it was very interesting that he says he'll work with him and he's looking to help him become a number 9 rather than accept he's a number 10. But I tell you what, if I can just put in an extra thing into this conversation, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm delighted that he's been left out of the German national side because that gives Eddie a fortnight to work with him here on his fitness, which he's got to work in terms of the physicality of the Premier League.
Yes.
He might be 8'6", but he can still get pushed around on the physicality. You won't push him around much very shortly after some more training. And I think he's shown real promise now. Even more so than he did on his debut when he scored, a lot more so than that. But I'm pleased he's not going away with Germany because Eddie will be able to get in a lot of work, a lot of physical work with him, which is what he did with Gordon when Gordon first come from Everton.
Yeah.
And Gordon was way off being what we needed him to be. And he turned him into an England player, for goodness sake. He's got a magic wand, that bugger.
What did you make of him not going down when he got punched in the face against Arsenal? And then his comments after the game where he said, "I don't like to go down when someone does that." Of course, he was angry. He wouldn't shake Martinelli's hand, but ultimately, what happened was the guy who doesn't get sent off goes and scores the winning goal. So, were you happy with that, lads, or were you sitting cursing, going, "You idiot"?
Well, I know where you're coming from on that. I know where you're coming from, and Mal will tell you in a minute because Mal is a centre forward. From my point of view, it's the way you are. It's your nature.
It is, yeah.
Bruno's going down the minute the wind blows in the left hand side. Bruno's going down as a fella's coming to tackle him before he's got to hold himself back till the fella makes a tackle before he hits the floor. I mean, and that's just his nature, and you can say it makes him not a professional because you play within the rules, you try to get what you can get. This guy doesn't play that way. Bobby Charlton didn't play that way. Some players, it's not a matter of doing the honourable thing, really. It's a matter of what your nature is, and it's not his nature. You saw him when he got the elbow turning round and really having a go at Gibbo, who tried to then tell him it was an accident, as of course he would when it wasn't any such thing. But he was very angry about that. but it's not in the big man's nature. Whereas
No, it isn't, John. And also because when good heavens, I know it's a long time back, but when I was playing for Tunbridge, and it was a real rough league to play in,
yes.
Southern League. But when I was playing for them, the manager, Harry Haslam, his philosophy was that when you get done by an opposing player, don't go down. Don't ever let them see that you're hurt. He said, and then he'd sort of wisecrack, and if he breaks your leg, just you can hobble off. You know, but it was what he was trying to say was never let them see that you're actually hurt. And I admire Woltemade for taking on that stance with the opposition. He's showing them that they've got to dig harder at him than they have done so far. And
yeah,
good for him.
Good for
him.
But I'm glad that Eddie will be working with him over the next fortnight. I really am, because there just hasn't been time, guys, for any training. We're playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. There's no time on the training ground. This fortnight, with Woltemade not aware, Eddie can get an awful lot of work into him, just to help him physically be able to withstand what the Premier League is, because it's a whole different ball game. I mean, if you're in the Bundesliga, you have about 4 tough games a season. You know, the same as if you're in Scotland or whatever. And this is relentless. And everybody that comes into this league says how different it is. So I'm delighted at the work that poor lad, I don't want to say, isn't it wonderful he's been dropped by Germany, but isn't it wonderful he's been dropped by Germany?
Well, that just goes to prove that Bayern Munich are right. He's not worth the money.
Yeah. Of course, he's not worth the money. He's not worth the money when he's half the money that we got for Isaac. And he's got good feet and everything. In any case, Bayern Munich thought they were being ultra clever, Malcolm.
Yeah.
They've been trailing him for a while. They tried to get him on the cheap from Stuttgart. Stuttgart said no. And they believed that if they waited for him until next summer, he'd be so anxious to join the greatest club in Germany, that he would wait until then and force the transfer to go to them. All of a sudden, we come in and paid the going rate or slightly above, and the guy said, "I'll go there." So you know, they were flabbergasted, and they said that for home consumption. They said that for people in Munich to hear it.
And I think, John, that we've got to admire him for making that really tough decision. You know, I could wait for Bayern Munich, or I've got the opportunity to go to Newcastle. For a German, he took
absolutely,
the favourable option, didn't he?
Absolutely, Malcolm. As a German, to go to the best club, not just in Germany, but one of the best clubs in Europe, which Bayern Munich are, one of the best clubs in Europe, but to come to Newcastle with no history of winning things like Bayern Munich have, and you're giving up winning a championship medal every season, because they've won the title 10 times out of 11 in the last few years. He's done something brave, something that'll help his game, and good on him. I think there's still work to be done with him, but you can half see there's something for Eddie and his coaches to work on.
And you're never going to see the best of him until he's fully fit. And you can see that he's certainly not a 90-minute player at the moment.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
Barry asks, Malcolm, which striker would you have loved to have played alongside from any time period? Obviously, it doesn't have to be a Newcastle thing. Is there anyone that you think would have you would have liked to have played alongside? Somebody you watched, maybe? Or...
Do you know, you really, or certainly I have never really thought in that fashion, because when I joined Newcastle, and there was John Tudor already at the club, and so it was a question of he and I really working together in training, just to get on an understanding level of how we're playing together. Who would I have liked to have played with? I enjoyed with in the England side playing with Mick Shannon in both the under-23s and the full side. And Mick, he just went walkabouts. He went all over the pitch and what have you. And that suited me to sort of play the more direct centre forward role. And we worked well in that fashion.
Malcolm, I know you're going around the houses when you really want to say you would have loved to have played with Chris Wood. I know that's what you're wanting to say.
He's coming back this weekend.
He is.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
I'm going to get the welcome home Chris flags out of me loft.
Oh, you made one, did you? It must be the only one on Tyne side, isn't it?
It's incredible that he's still in the Premiership, I find. You know, at Newcastle, I really felt at the time that he was just about one of the worst players that I've ever seen at this level of football.
Look what you've done, John. Look what you've done. Well, we're keeping this for the end of the show. You've got him talking about Chris Wood already. Who would you, just out of interest, John, you watched Malcolm play. Who do you think you would like to have seen him play with of any era?
Malcolm didn't need to play with anybody. He needed to play with two wingers rather than somebody his shoulder, because he took all the room through the middle. He would say, "Get out the bloody way. I'll go through here. Just get the ball across to me and I'll score goals." But yes, I know what you mean. And you know what? This sounds silly and it's from different eras. But looking at Newcastle, I always remember people telling me that Alan Shearer and Les Ferdinand could never play together because they both did the same job. They were line leaders, etc. They scored nearly 50 goals in the one season together and proved they could play together. That being so, I would love to have seen Malcolm alongside Alan Shearer and see how it would work out. And by the way, I know what you would say, what people would say, that can't work out because they both want the same ball. Ego-wise, they both want to score goals. I don't buy that because that was the way it was with Ferdinand.
You're right, John. Would there be room for the pair of us in a team? Yeah, probably so. Probably so. I think we'd have our frustrations together.
Oh, you would.
But you work those out. And Alan was. What you do is you accommodate the partner, and what you have to remember is that Alan and I were opposites in terms of pace.
Absolutely.
His finishing was so clinical. It was a joy to watch. It really was. But he wasn't quick, whereas I would be doing much different things because I was using pace. And so we would probably get on. And get on
what
quite
I think,
well.
Malcolm,
and I think that Alan, his goal tally wouldn't have gone down. He still would have been getting the kind of tally that he regularly got, and I think the same with me because we'd be going away from each other. We wouldn't be clashing all the while. You know,
what I think, Steve,
lacked pace, I had pace, so I'd be on the move, usually away from him.
What I think, Steve, as well, is people often say to me, well, would the great superstars of yesteryear be able to fit in the way football's played now? I think the way Newcastle United play now would be perfect for Malcolm McDonald because they don't play with two strikers. They play with one striker through the middle and they want them to have pace and they give them two wingers with pace on either side. And I think that would suit Malcolm McDonald down to the ground.
Yeah, because what defenders don't want is to be turned. And that's what I look to do all of the time. And as soon as a defender is actually facing his own goal, he is so uncomfortable. They want to be looking up the pitch for the whole of the game. And I force them to actually turn round and face their own goal. And they felt uncomfortable.
Okay, good stuff. Got about 10 minutes left. Thanks to everybody who sent their questions in as well. Much appreciated. Got through most of them tonight, so thanks very much. Newcastle do take on Nottingham Forest this weekend. It is a quick return to the Premier League after the Champions League. 2:00 kickoff live on Sky Sports. Tino Livramento will miss the game with a knee injury. That is going to sideline him until November, so it isn't as bad as first feared at the weekend.
Which is right. I'm quite relieved on that. I haven't been able to find out.
It's good news. It's good news on that. Forest are at home in the Europa League tonight, so they have not much rest before they play us at the weekend. They've got 5 points from 6 Premier League outings, 4 of those coming during the opening 4 games of the season when Nuno Espirito Santo was in charge, of course. Away from home, they've drawn 1-1 at Crystal Palace and Burnley, and they lost 3-0 at Arsenal. Ange Postecoglou lost both of his Premier League visits to St James's Park when he was manager of Spurs. He was beaten 4-0 and 2-1. The referee has been announced. It's Peter Banks. The Lancashire officials already reffed this once this season. That was at Leeds United. He only gave 1 yellow card to each of the teams in that game. So not card happy, Mr. Banks. VAR is Chris Kavanagh. Don't forget as well, if you are going up to the game at the weekend, the food bank will be in operation outside the Gallagher side of the ground. Go and stick some money in the buckets and make a donation this weekend if you can. So, yes, last game before another international break, John. And if last night was a must-win in the Champions League, got to be perfectly honest, this is a must-win in the Premier League, John.
Oh, I mean, with the start of the season we've had, the next game's always a must-win for us at the moment, isn't it? And of course it's a must-win because even though we're basking in the sunlight of Brussels, we've still only won 1 game in the Premier League all season. And that only just 1-0 against Wolves up here. Our form up here, sorry, not our form up here because that hasn't been bad. Our results up here have been, because we've lost 3 times already in all competitions, albeit to the cream, Liverpool, Arsenal and Barcelona. We need to keep clean sheets at home and we need to win at home. And I mean, I think Big Ange is manna from heaven. I mean, he's right up our street. He has a back line that plays on the halfway line. So any ball over the top with players with pace, and we have got players with pace, both wings, etc., are blisteringly quick. You can, with a bit of intelligence, you can get at his back 4. I mean, he hasn't won a league game. He hasn't won any game until tonight. But even if he wins tonight, he hasn't won a league game since he went there. This is not the Forest of last season that surprised and shocked everybody when they went into top 3 and spent 3 quarters of the season in the top 3. It's not that team anymore. Nothing like that team anymore. And I think we can get amongst them whatever team Eddie puts out. And I would be quite happy, by the way, if he doesn't ring the changes and he puts out the side that started at Forest, because started it in Brussels against Union. I would be quite happy to see that because I think all of them did well. And I would be happy to see that side go again. I don't like Byrne at left back. I really don't. But I know he's going to play him. Byrne's going to be in the side somewhere, even if it's in goal. And he loves him. I think he's his long lost son from a different world. So he's not going to be dropped. So he may as well play left back because we know he's going to. And I would pick the rest of the side, I think, picks itself. we can't spread the load. But why? A lot of them are going to get a rest after Sunday anyway, because there's a fortnight off. Not the international lads, but the rest of the lads. I'm looking forward to Newcastle winning, without a shadow of a doubt.
All right, yeah. Just on the Dan Burns situation, there is a left back sitting on the bench.
Yes.
And it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't banging on the manager's door, wanting to know why he isn't in the side playing at left back when Dan Burn is really a centre half.
Absolutely.
And it can be quoted that, well, Dan Burns got in the England side. Yeah, but so did the young lad
Hall.
Yeah.
What Eddie's saying, and bear in mind, Malcolm, this was before Union. What Eddie's saying is that his injury was so bad last season, they've got to take it gently. And when he started, he's looked a bit like unsure, and that he's got to be handled gently through this injury situation and reintegrated into the side carefully, because he's not, blasting on all cylinders. I mean, every day of the year, I would have a Hall in ahead of Byrne at left back, because he's a proper left back and Byrne isn't. And that's not an insult to Byrne, who's terrific, but he's not a left back. I mean, if there's one position you don't want Byrne, in my humble opinion, it's anywhere near the tram lines, because once he's not chucked in the centre with people around him, he can get exposed on pace by people
very
running.
Much so.
And then he's got a problem. So I would play Hall, but I would play Hall. And I think during the time, Malcolm, during the time that Livramento isn't there, Hall will get in the side and stay there. But I don't think it'll be Sunday, because for a start, he wants to play Byrne, and how does he move either of his two centre halves at the moment?
And also, John, that that people could say, yeah, but Byrne he's 6'13", and we need him for corners. He never gets his head to the ball at corners. So,
and the other two centre halves aren't small.
No, they're not. No, absolutely. But yeah, I think I would prefer to have a bit of pace at left back, and particularly against Forest, because they're outside right. If he's on song, and he's not always, he's very quick, nippy, and a little bit tricky. So, I think I'd rather maybe see Hall in that position.
I would as well, Malcolm. I believe that we'll see Byrne, but I would be happy to see Hall.
Think so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get a prediction of you guys. John?
2-0.
2-0. I'm going to go 3-1 with Chris Wood scoring for Nottingham Forest.
Well, of course you are, because your membership of the fan club would expire if you didn't score. By the way, you did get the 50 quid in the post from him to say that, didn't you?
Mal, what do you reckon?
I think that Forest are really struggling at the moment, and they're caught between two systems, the old one and the new one, with a change of manager, and they're frustrated, and I just have the feeling that Newcastle, they got the taste for goals last night, and I just have a feeling that they'll be looking to get that excitement back into their game again on Sunday. So I'm going to go 4-0. A repeat of last night.
I love it.
Well done, you. I hope we're all right, but I hope Malcolm's especially right.
Me too. I'm going to finish with a poem from Maureen Stobbart, affectionately known as Mother. She sent us this. She sent us this on Facebook. It's about selections, team selections. Why is he playing him? It's madness. He's wrong. I'll never get why he sings the same song. This one is better than that one for sure. and the player that won there, that decision is poor. The team he has picked just fills me with fear. If we play with this team, we'll be nowhere near. He's out of ideas. He sticks with the same. There's no chance of us ever winning this game. Oh, hang on. We won. The performance was great. Great passing, great teamwork, and nothing to hate. The subs were amazing. A team full of fight. And once again, Eddie, well, he got it right. Keep the faith, she says. Keep the faith.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. Absolutely.
very good.
Because I tell you what, whatever he does is not often wrong. We've got to remember when Eddie Howe came here, we were relegation fighters. We've appeared in 2 Wembley Cup finals, won the Carabao Cup, and we've had 2 Champions League excursions. In about 4 or 5 years, that ain't bad, baby. There's more where that come from.
Yes.
Slightly shorter show tonight because I wasn't late. We will rectify that next week. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the match at the weekend. And then it's
all right, and I should be joining you, John. So
yes, I'm looking forward to that, my friend.
Indeed, yes, we can have a good old chinwag.
See you then, lads. Take care.
All right.
Take care, boys.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, a key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk. And just a reminder, we've got a few other events coming up. We've got this Christmas event with Warren Barton, 21st of November, and that is 7 till 10 at the Irish Centre. Tickets £12. nufcmatters.co.uk. All proceeds to Age UK North Tyneside Dementia. And next year, Supermac and Gibbo are reunited at the Irish Centre for the Age UK North Tyneside Dementia charity. Tickets are on sale now at the website nufcmatters.co.uk. That's Friday. And Peter Beardsley the following week, again at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets available from nufcmatters.co.uk. See you all tomorrow for the Amigos at 5 o'clock.